the abstract WSDL. Okay, yesterday I have created abstract WSDL. So the difference between abstract WSDL and concrete WSDLs are what? So in abstract WSDL, you will only specify services. Okay, you only specify the services that you are providing, and that will be maintained by web service provider, because he is going to implement whatever is specified in that abstract WSDL, and based on that he will create concrete WSDL. Okay, based on abstract WSDL, so he will create concrete WSDL, and that concrete WSDL will be given to the clients so that they can access the web service. If the client doesn't have if the client doesn't have concrete WSDL, okay, if the client doesn't have concrete WSDL, he cannot call the web service. In order to call the web service, the client must have concrete WSDL. So what exactly concrete WSDL will be having? The services that are offered and the transport information using which the services will be accessed. Okay, using which the services will be accessed. Okay. So right now this composite role is service provider. So that's why you will be working with only abstract WSDL. But if at all he wants to call some partner services, then he requires concrete WSDL. Okay, he requires concrete WSDL right now. So this particular application role as of now is provided. So that's why we'll be working with only abstract WSDL. Now, so as I said, so you have to implement your business logic. Okay, you'll be implementing a business logic either web app or composite, Java, mediation, C# or C++. So only these features you have. But if you want to have zero coding, okay, if you want to have zero coding, so you require mediation. Okay, so you require mediation. So first we'll take mediation. Okay, first we'll take mediation. Okay, and once we're familiar with the this grid concepts, then we will see so Java as well as the web app and all those stuff. Okay, so for now let's use the mediation. So there I have mediation, so select that, so click the mediation and click here. It is not drag and drop, it is click and click. Okay, so this is our condition. Okay, so this is our task. When the customer is sending request, okay, when the customer is sending request, so you have to check whether the loan amount is less than 25,000 or not. So if it is less than 25,000, that will be automatically approved by some other system. And if it is not less than 25,000, you'll have to send it for manual approval. Okay, you'll have to send it for manual approval. Okay, so how exactly you can do this particular configuration here? Okay, so you guys are aware of web services, right? Okay, fine. Escape, what's your name? Because I'm unable to pronounce that name. What's your name? Okay, fine, cool. Okay. So what we will do is, yeah, go ahead, Harsha. So what's the question? You mean course? No, it is purely we'll be dealing with BPM only most of the time. That's why I asked you yesterday or day before yesterday whether you guys want to go with the BPM and straight away, or grid. Okay, so you guys said just basics of grid you guys wanted, right? Okay. Okay. So now, so here, so few things we need to do. So one thing is, one component I'm going to make it as a router. So which means it will intercept the request. Okay, it will intercept the request. So based on the request type, okay, based on the request type, it will be sending the request to different components. Okay, it will be sending that information to different systems. So here we have two types of systems we are having. So one is the auto approval system and the second one is the manual approval system. So which means, so one is BPM system, so which deals with manual approval, and other one is auto approval system. That's where you're going to store the you're going to store the request and you will send some kind of confirmation. Okay, so let's do the task here. So this is one mediation, so which will intercept the incoming messages, and I will keep two more mediations. So these mediations represent systems for now in our case. Okay, so I'll specify one mediation here. And so I'm going to specify as okay, auto approval system. So another mediation, so click the mediation and click. Okay, it's a manual approval BPM system it is. Okay, now so this will perform the mediation. Or so this will orchestrate the loan request. Okay, so this will orchestrate the loan request. Okay. So these are the three components we have. So one will be intercepting the requests, and based on the condition, it will be sending them to auto approval or the manual approval. Okay. Now, so first, what exactly we will do is okay. Now, so first you need to understand what are the roles of these components. Okay, what are the roles of these components? Now, this auto approval system is there. So this system status will be service provider. Okay, this system status will be service provider for this orchestrate loan request mediation. Okay, so this system role will be service provider. So how do you represent service provider? So using service. Okay, using service you're going to specify, or you using service you're going to define the role as web service provider. Just think that the service is nothing but SOAP event source in BW. Okay, service is nothing but SOAP event source in BW. So reference is nothing but SOAP request reply. Okay, so reference is nothing but SOAP request reply or invoke partner, and the service is nothing but SOAP event source. Okay, so these two are the providers. So that's why we will define service for this component service, and we will define the component service for this. Okay, for both of them we will define component service. Okay, so let's do the task. I'll send a no only. I'm going to send now. So I have sent mail to you. And I will send few more later. Okay. So few more docs are there on my different hard disks. I will send them later. Okay. Yeah. So let's make these applications as providers. So how do you make a component as a provider? By using component service. So that's why. So select this mediation and then click on component service. So it will add that service. As I said, so component service is nothing but it is SOAP event source activity. Okay. And for this also I am going to add the component service. Now, so if you remember, in the SOAP event source activity also, you will be selecting the port type. Okay, you will be selecting the port type in the SOAP event source activity also. The same thing you have to do here. So you have to specify, so which interface operations, so these guys will be implementing. Okay, so which interface operations, so they will be implementing. Okay, now, so select this and go to port type. Okay, so there you have the port type option. So go to port type, click on browse. Okay, go to port type, click on browse and select sync. Okay, so it is auto approval system, so sync response will be sent immediately. So that's why we are using the interface accept loan request. Sync PT we are selecting. Okay, select that. Now this one is there. So what exactly it has to do? So this is the BPM system. So it will take the request. Okay, it will be taking the request. And later on, when everything is completed, okay, when everything is completed, it will be sending the request. Okay, later on, when everything is completed, it will be sending the callback or it will be sending the response. So here, so this component role will be two roles this component will be having. So one role is as a provider, it will accept the request. Okay, as a provider, it will accept the request. And at the same time, once everything is completed, as a web service client, it will send out the approval status. Okay, it will send out the approval status. So incoming role will be SOAP event source or the provider. The outgoing here will be in SOAP request reply or web service client role. So as a client role, you will be sending the response. Okay, so I'm going to select this service and I'm going to select the port type. Go to port type, click on browse and select, so send for manual approval PT. Okay, so through this you will take the request. Okay, send for manual approval PT. Select that and okay. Okay, now so we'll name them. So I'm going to give a name for this as or okay, so BPM approval request name. And for this I will give a name as Okay, auto approve, request in out. Now, so this particular component, so this BPM application, so once the processing is completed, so once the processing is completed, so okay, so once the processing is completed, so it's going to send out the request. Okay, so it's going to send out the request. Okay, so that also you have to configure. Okay, so that also you have to configure. So that we'll configure later, but for now, so do the rest of the configuration for this. Now select this one. Now this mediation, okay, this mediation, which is orchestrate mediation, will be sending request to this, as well as will be sending request to this also. So which means as a client, it will send request to this, and it will be sending request to this also. So as I told you, so when you want to specify client role, you will be using reference. Okay, you will be using reference to specify the client role. So select the reference. Okay, so select the reference and specify that here. It is click and click, it's not drag and drop. So click the reference and click here. And similarly, so click the reference and click here. Okay, now okay, so you have configured web service client role, you have configured for this. But when you're configuring SOAP request reply, so when you configure SOAP request reply, you have to specify the WSDL file. Okay, you have to specify the WSDL file. So here also you have to specify that. So go to the first reference, now go to port type, click on browse. Okay, so go to port type, click on browse, and select accept loan sync PT. Okay, select it. Okay, now. So I will give a name for that. I will give a name as Invoke Okay, so Invoke Auto Approve Request. Now, so select the second one. Now go to port type, click on browse. Okay, go to port type, click on browse and select. So accept this send for manual approval PT. Okay, send for manual approval PT. Select that. And okay. Now, so I'm going to give a name for that. Okay. Now you have to connect them. Okay, so you have to connect them. So how do you connect these components? Using the wire. Okay, so there you have the wire. So select the wire. Okay, so click on the wire. So when you click on the wire, there you can see you have the wire. Now, so click on the first one and drag and drop onto service. Okay, it's like BW ping only. So you'll select that. and you will connect it. The next one and connect it. Now you can see if the interfaces are matching. Okay, the interfaces are matching, it will highlight that. Now you can see here. So this interface is highlighted, not this one. Because there you have a different interface and here you have a different interface. Okay, select. Okay, now the client application. Okay, the client application is the one who is going to send request. Okay, the client application is the one who is going to send request. So this component is going to accept requests from the client applications. Okay, this component is the one which is going to accept client requests from the is the one which is going to accept client requests. So that's why now this time this component role will become service provider. So from here to here it is service client, and from here its role will be service provider. So that's why, so select the mediation and select the component service, add component service. Okay, select the mediation and select add component service. Now, so client always, so it will be synchronous. Okay, the client will be sending synchronous request. So go to port type, so click on browse and select sync PT, accept on sync PT. Okay, so if it is less than 25, so immediately you will send confirmation to him. Immediately you will send that your loan is approved. But if it is greater than 25,000, you're not going to say that it is approved. You will only say that the request is received, and you will update you when when the processing is completed. Okay, so select accept loan sync PT and okay, I'm going to name it as accept loan request. Now, as I told you before, okay, as I told you before, so for external system access, okay, for external system access, you have to specify the component service, or you have to specify composite service or promoted service. So if you want to allow, okay, if you want to allow the external clients, okay, if you want to allow external clients to invoke this application, or if you want to provide services to the external clients, you have to define promoted service or composite service. So there only you can define transport bindings. Okay, there only you can define transport bindings. So that's why, okay, that's why. Now, so right click on the component. Okay, right click on the component. There you have promote option. So select promote. Okay, right click on the component, select promote. So when you do that, then it will become promoted service, or it will become promoted service, or it will become composite service. Okay, so select promote. You can see it has added. Now, So select it and then go to bindings. Okay, so go to bindings. So now you have to specify through what transport you want to expose this. Okay, through what transport you want to expose your composite or your services. So go to bindings and click on this first option, add binding. Okay, so click on the first. And there you have JMS and SOAP binding. So select SOAP binding. Okay, select SOAP binding. So as I told you, so you have different types of binding. One is JMS binding, one is SOAP binding, and the second and other one is adapter binding. Third one is the fourth one is rest binding, and the fifth one is this one, which is that JMS, SOAP, adapter, rest, EJB. Okay, EJB bindings. So, but for rest, adapter, and EJB bindings, you have to install those binding types. Okay, those binding types you have to install separately. Okay, so by default you will be having only two bindings, JMS and SOAP. But if you want to have other bindings, you have to install those plugins. But here they are not called plugins, they are called BTs or binding types. Okay, so select SOAP binding and then click on finish. So I will give a name for this. So launch interface. Okay, launch interface. Name I am given. There you can see everything is automatically configured for us. Okay, now so based on this configuration, let's generate concrete WSTL. Okay, so that the external clients can invoke your composite. So there you have generate WSDL for loans interface binding. So click on it and I will give a name for that. Okay, CWC. Okay, specify CWCL, just give some name, select next, and I will specify one port number for it. I will specify 5001, so which means this service will be available on the port 5001. Okay, so specify the port and finished. Okay, now so you can see the concrete WSDL has been generated. So this you're going to give to the web service clients. Okay, but before giving to them, so we have to build our provider application. So incrementally we do the implementation here. So first we'll complete this manual approval BPM system. Okay, now if you see this component, okay, if you see that component, it is showing some error. Okay, it is showing some error because so this component is not yet implemented. Now if is okay, now if you see the SA composite diagrams, so it will be exactly like this only. So you can see how it is. Okay, exactly like that only we have. Okay. So wherever you will be working in SYA, the same thing you will have. Okay, there you can see promote. So here also you have promoted reference. So just select composite. So these are all components. And on the promoted references services, you will define the bindings. So binding or JMS binding or something like that. Okay. So your whatever application you're developing, so it is fully compliant with SES specification. Okay. Now let's implement these components. So just click on that error. Okay, click on that error and select generate implementation. Okay, so click on the error and select generate mediation implementation. And you have to select that mediation folder. So go there and select mediation flows and finished. Okay, select mediation flows. Okay. Then you can see the error is disappeared. Now again, so select this mediation, click on the error and generate mediation implementation. Okay, so generate mediation implementation. Okay, so generate mediation implementation. So mediation flows and finished. And similarly, so this also we will generate. So select the component, click on the error and generate mediation implementation. Okay. So mediation flows and finished. What, Harsha? What's the question? What is choose? Acha. See, this is only definition. Okay, it is only component. You have to implement that component. So which means, how to accept the request and how to update the parameters. All those things you have to specify as part of a business logic. Now think that you have only specified process definition. Okay, so you think that the mediation is nothing but one process definition. Okay, so what we do in BW, you specify the process definition like this and you're going to double click the process definition. Then you configure the activities. So here for the double clicking is nothing but implementation. You have to implement it, then only you can specify the activities in that. Okay. mediation flows and now so let's implement the functionality. Let's implement the actual functionality. Now we have only connected them. Okay, so right now we have only connected these components. So right now they don't have any business logic. Okay, they don't have any kind of implementation. So let's implement them. So first we'll implement this one. So manual approval BPM system. So double click on this mediation. Okay, double click on the mediation. Now, so here you have mediation flow editor. So this is what you call as mediation flow editor. Okay, this is what you call as mediation flow editor. So here you have mediation interfaces and target interfaces. Okay, so here it has, you have different names here. So one is mediation interface. And the second one is target interface. Okay, one is mediation interface and the second one is target interface. So there is different terminology also for this. The target interfaces are called business services. Okay, the target interfaces are called business services. And the mediation interfaces are called proxy services. Okay, so other names are there. The mediation interface is called as proxy service. And the target interface will be called as business service. Okay, now this component is not calling any other component. Okay, it is not calling any other component. So that's why, so there is nothing in the target interface section. Okay, there is nothing in the target interface section. So the response or whatever implementation is required, so that will be done here itself. Okay, that will be done so within this implementation itself. Now these are all mediation primitives, or these are all mediation activities. Okay, these are all mediation activities. Only these activities you will be using. Okay, only these activities you will be using. Okay, now so this is, you see this operation icon. The direction is only one way. Okay, the direction it is showing also, it is showing only one way. So that's why, so select that operation and drag and drop into mediation path. Okay, so select the operation and drag and drop into mediation path. Okay, now so this operation is what? It is only one way operation. Okay, it is only one way operation that you have to indicate. Okay, you have to indicate that you're not going to send any reply. Okay, you have to indicate that you're not going to send any reply. So that's why, so select end mediation. Okay, select end mediation and then it is click end mediation and click on this line. Okay, so click on that line. So you are saying that this operation is only one way. So that's why I'm not sending any reply. Okay, that's why I'm not sending any reply. So that you have to specify. So how do you specify that? You are not sending reply by selecting that option. Okay, by selecting that option, you will be, by selecting this end mediation, you will be specifying that you're not sending any reply. Okay, so we will see, all we do is here, we'll simply log the request. Okay, whatever request message you are receiving, we will simply log that request. So there you have log activity. Okay, the log mediation task is there. So select that mediation log task. Okay, select that and then click on that line. It is click and click the log task and click here. Okay, So now I will just specify configure the log activity. So these are the log roles you have: info 1, debug and edit. So whichever level you want to specify, you can specify. I will set the log role as debug. Okay, I will set the log role as debug, and then I will select log activity. Okay, I will select the log tab, and what do you want to log? I want to log request message. So select request message. So automatically whatever data will be there, so it will be logged automatically. Okay, whatever data will be there in that, so the data will be automatically logged. Okay, so that's it. Save your project. So what exactly this is doing? This BPM system mediation, it is taking the request, it is simply logging that request. So since it is one-way operation, at the end you have specified end mediation. Okay, now so let's configure the second one, so which is auto approval system. So double click on that application. Okay, double click on that mediation. Now this is what? This is a two-way operation. Okay, this is a two-way operation. So that's why, so click on this operation. Okay, so click on this operation. Okay, so click on this operation. Now this is synchronous operation. Okay, this is synchronous operation. So that's why, so as I said, we are only simply, we are doing very basic thing here. We will be sending only reply. So that's why there you have generate reply. So it is a two-way operation. You can't use end mediation. You'll have to use generate reply. So select generate reply. Okay, select generate reply. Okay, select that, click that, and click on the line. Okay, click the generate reply and click on the line. So this is where you will be sending the reply. Okay, this is where you'll be sending the reply. Now select that activity and then select input. Okay, select input and then pass the parameters from here. Just pass some parameter. Okay, auto approved. So terms and conditions, just specify something. Okay, that's it. Save. Okay, so this you will be sending as response. Okay, now, so now go to Composite. Okay, let's go to Composite now. So let's implement this one, orchestrate loan request. So double click on this one. Okay, double click on that. Now you can see, so there you have two target interfaces. Okay, you're having two target interfaces because so this mediation is calling two services. It's calling two services, so that's why you have two target operations here or target interfaces here. Okay. Now, so let's configure this. Let's configure the operations here. Now, you have one source operation and two target operations you have, and the two, one target operation is synchronous one, and another target operation is asynchronous one. Okay, one target operation is synchronous one, and another target operation is asynchronous one. So here you have to be careful here. Okay, you'll have to be little careful here. So now when you select the operation, okay, when you select the operation, since everything is matching here, the operation name is matching, and okay, operation names are matching, the line is automatically drawn. Okay, the line is automatically drawn. So which means, so whenever the request is received, so instant it will go to this operation. Okay, whenever this applications receive the request, so automatically the request will go to this operation. So if you want to use that, you can use it, or you can customize that. Okay, if you want to leave it, you can leave it like that, or you can customize that. Okay, or you can customize that. So in our case, we will leave it like that, but we will have some conditions here. So what's the condition? The condition is, if the loan amount is less than 25, send it for auto approval, else send it for manual approval. So you need to have if condition. Okay, you need to have if condition. So whenever you want to have conditional flow, you require the activity here route. Okay, you require the activity route. So select the route activity. Okay, select the route activity. So route activity for simple conditions, but for complex conditions you will be using XPath route. Okay, so you'll be for route you will be using for simple conditions, but for complex you will be using XPath route. So select route. It is click and click the route and click here. Okay, click the route and click there. Okay, so here you will be specifying the condition. Okay, here you will be specifying the condition. Okay, now your condition is what? If it is less than 25,000, so straight away it will go here. Okay, straight away it will go here. But if it is greater than 25,000, so two things you have to do. You have to send it for manual approval. Okay, so which is one-way operation, and at the same time you have to send confirmation to the requester by saying that we have accepted your request, we'll send the status later on. But whereas in the first case, so instantly you will say that your request is approved. But here, since it is a long running task, so you will be specifying that we have received your request, but we'll be sending the response later. Okay, we'll be sending the response later. Okay, so that's why Now it is showing you one activity here. So what activity is that? It's a fault activity. Okay, this activity is a fault activity. So here you are not supposed to use fault activity in our case. You have to use reply activity, because you will be calling this operation and then you will be sending some confirmation. So that's why, so select this activity. So we need to change this in different place, that we will do it. But when the control comes into this path, into this path, you have to call this operation. So that's why, so there you have invoke operation. So select invoke operation and then specify that here, just before this activity. Okay, just before that activity. Now go to case, go to route. Okay, so go to route and then select decision. Okay, go to route, select decision. So in the decision you say, for the otherwise, you see here, for otherwise it is showing throw fault. Okay, for otherwise it is showing throw fault. So instead of throw fault, specify generate reply. Okay, there you have otherwise. So instead of throw fault, so select generate reply. Okay, now, so this is our main flow. So how this works? Less than 25,000, straight away control will go here. So greater than 25,000, you will send it for approval, and you will be sending some temporary confirmation you will be sending to him. Okay, so now we need to configure these activities. Okay, so how to configure these activities and how to test this, we'll see in the next class. Okay, so rest we'll see in the next class. So I have sent the documents and software also, service grid software. You can install that. Okay, Sudhakar. Okay, Harsh. Okay, so we'll meet on Monday. Yes. Yes, Sudhakar. We'll have class on next Monday. Okay. Yeah. You're welcome, Sudhakar. Okay, guys. Good night. We'll meet on Monday.
Yeah, Srinivas.
So I have another class to take up. Okay, I have to sign off. Yeah, Harsh. Have anything to ask? Yeah, go ahead. So it will be 35 hours, 35 hours session it will be. 35 to 40 hours it will be. Yeah, make it as 40 hour session. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Okay, Harsh, Sudhakar, good night. Yeah, I will be sending. Okay.